Everybody doing? Good? Good?
Yeah.
Good?
We're having the cold. Yeah.
Having a cold?
No, surviving the cold.
Oh, yeah. Goes with the territory, doesn't it?
Okay,
This time
it
of
is
year.
being recorded.
Okay.
Not hearing anything. See, audio, yeah, audio is working. All right, let's get this started. Okay,
Is it 6:30?
It is 6:30.
6:30. Evening. Let's call first of all, right, even call to order. Let's make sure we know where the exits are. Out that way and out that way, and guessing behind me goes out to that corridor too.
You can theoretically get out that way, yes.
Call the meeting to order for tonight, which is January 8th, 2025. And let's see who's present. Jerry Markowitz, Miles Probos. Probos, I like that. And thank you so much, Dina O'Brien. Tom Pendergast is out tonight. And Josh Chase is here also. So we have a quorum and we should, I guess, first do emergency excavation, which I did those earlier, which I prefer. Approval of the minutes of November 13th. Anybody get a chance to look at any of these?
Just started soon.
Let's take a couple minutes to look at them.
The only thing that I found was I am listed under members and technically I'm not one.
Right, you're not one.
So,
So we gotta get that.
but
removed.
that's a
Minor.
very minor, yeah. Yeah.
So I'd like to make a motion that we approve the minutes of November 13th, 2024.
I'll second that.
Agreed? All in agreement? Okay, all good. Minutes are approved. Organizational items, nothing, old business. Lake Tioga water testing, we don't have the results in yet. It usually takes a little while. I would have thought they'd be in by now, but they are not yet. If you've gone by the lake, you'll notice it's really low. I being the gatekeeper, understand why that is, and I'll make you aware that by lowering it and hoping to have it low when it's cold weather, we can get some kill rates on some of the exotic species that are existing in the lake. And we have to get cold weather. This is pretty cold, but not cold enough. So we need to get really cold unless it's for an extended period of time. I don't think this will be enough, but that's always the attempt. So that's why the lake's low, in case you get asked a question about it. It's me, the gate is now closed, so it shouldn't go much lower. Recreational activities, Tioga and Johnson Pond. Is there any information out there about that, Josh?
Nope.
Nope. So that's still in hold. Can we keep that on the meeting for next?
Sure.
Next
Yeah.
month? Grant applications, anything on that, Miles?
I have not gotten a chance to do that. Something is not now working with DM
Oh,
actually.
you are?
So I could actually have a conversation with. Trying to think of the most relevant department, if we're looking for specifically what we'd be looking for grants for, obviously, but.
I like to think a grant for us might be to go out and go to a facility. For instance, Johnson's Pond is gonna have some type of thing.
Mm.
It'd be really nice to come up with some signage and and that would cost money to have the signs made and things like that. Out there to have better understanding of environmental concerns and how we can protect our environment. Same as at Lake Tioga, they're gonna be doing paving out there and they're gonna be doing some additional work on Tioga. So it would be nice to have signs in place about, like, don't throw your diapers out in the water.
Yes,
One would think that that would be a natural consideration.
right, but
Having been there, it's not always.
so I
So,
can talk with planning and development then.
yeah,
And obviously that would just be on a, like, as this being said, like an informal, hey, what grants are
Yeah.
out there and whatnot, and
Yeah.
then obviously that gets sent by the commission, and it's not like, for the record, and for transparency, I'm just working with management services, I'm just backing stuff, I do not have any say in grant application, I'm
No,
not
no.
gonna sign off our own grant.
no, that's fine. It would be nice if we could get somebody who understands a little bit of how to
Right.
get them. And whether we have to write them or we have to have planning department write them, it doesn't matter,
Right.
however we
advice
can
from them.
find out about them.
Mhm.
Okay. Tom Pendergast presented to the planning board and did he send anybody copies of what he went on?
Oh, right, because he was at the,
Planning commission.
yes,
So, let me see. He sent it to me yesterday. I quickly looked at it, but I said, it's not really worth looking at. It's better to look at it as a group or at least talk about it. I still have it. I should. Yep. Yeah, meeting notes. Let's see. So I don't wanna, it's rather long.
Mhm.
Tom does a great job, he's very passionate about things and so he spends a lot of time, a lot of effort. It's pretty impressive. He introduced the Conservation Commission as himself and all of us. He specifically mentions me because of my background in engineering and so he felt that we were a valuable board for them. Advisory capacity only to be used at the PC discretion. One member asked them about the CC members, which is then he talked about all of us. Some interest. I told him about the stormwater project that he was doing on Middle Dam. Is it Middle Dam?
no, Upper Dam.
Upper Dam. And so they were really interested in what he was doing and they wanted to know how they could in the future request that kind of analysis be done on various developments, i.e. this guy that we will look at tonight. And he said they were very, very interested, really interested. You know what I'm talking about? The one he's doing on his pond. How he reaffirmed it was pretty low cost. I mean, we all have different opinions about low cost, whether it's going out for a sandwich or whether it's, going to the Capitol Grill. Some people would say the Capitol Grill is low cost. So Tom said it's relatively low cost. And I think from a design standpoint, it is, but it's not low cost when you consider building trenches along the side of the road and forming small detention ponds to trap some of the runoff from the roads. That is inexpensive. So anyways, he wanted to make sure that I read about that tonight. He said he may try to call in case you all had any questions for him. Do you have any questions that you'd like me to try to answer?
On their meeting, what did the planning commission say in response? Did they like,
They loved it.
well,
They want us to be involved when it's appropriate,
That's
which is really good to hear.
yeah, that's very good
And
news.
Tom and I talked about, think about presenting before the town council. And like, I don't mean to take anything away from anybody, including myself. I think Tom does the best job of all of us. And so, you know, I'm kind of relying upon Tom to go, and maybe we should all go too, to back him up, or to at least be there as somebody involved. So at least that's where it's at. Do you have any questions on that,
No.
Josh? No. I thought he did a really good job. He was pretty excited about it. And, you know, I think, we need to, first of all, thank him for going, because it's, you know, it's a night out on him, so. Sewer development in the Lake Tioga area.
Soon there's then no development.
God,
None.
oh my God.
It's on it should be on a repeat just to check in, but I doubt that.
Yep.
I think we're just gonna keep on putting it on there.
Mhm.
There's a development, and we can't see it now, on Arnold Road, that they're gonna have sewers. And I would like to see sewers be engaged on that whole section. If you're gonna bring it down to that development by Warwick Tree Service, you should bring it down for everything. Or at least we should try to get them to do that. So, would be great to keep that on.
Mhm.
5.5. Stormwater management, Tom's not really here to talk about it, so I'd kind of like to leave that till next meeting. See if he's had any update on that. Forest management plan, I strike out mentally on this, I don't know what we're talking about.
Let's put that under, for right now, under new business.
But next meeting,
For this meeting, but after.
okay. Tom is just reaching out to me right this second. So he's probably gonna call in. Is that okay from a meeting standpoint if he calls in?
I don't see why not.
I can't see any reason why not either.
Yeah.
So he calls in. Okay. Anything else under old business that we'd like to talk about that's not listed there? So new business. Future projects. I would call this a future project
Mhm.
for us.
Yep.
Do we have enough copies for everybody?
I read two.
Yeah.
So
All right.
should be good enough.
So-
For the background, this is a pre-app or a pre-application, which means this is pretty much all that they have. Excuse me. It's a sketch. You know, they aren't before the board for any kind of a vote. They aren't in front of anyone or anything other than the technical review committee, which is the heads of departments giving comments. You know, it's the heads of the planning department, engineering, DPW, fire, police. I think that's everybody. And you know, just as a, you know, when you are drawing up your proper plans, you are gonna wanna think about this, and you're gonna wanna think about that. Things like that. So this is,
Here. As you probably saw, it is located on these two plots of land right here. This is Arnold Road. This is New London Turnpike.
So depending on how well you guys know that area, if you're looking at this thing where it says restaurant, coffee shop, probably almost right across the street from Cumberland Farms.
Yep.
Just so you see it. Are these buildings that, I know it's just pre-app. But are these the type of buildings that they're going to be putting in, like, restaurants?
That's,
That's the
that is
proposal.
their current, intention.
I noticed
I see.
no housing at all.
Right, yeah, it's
Totally
all, commercial.
Right on that corner too. Ooh.
From someone who drives down there sometimes perspective,
What do you guys think?
that's certainly gonna. All right, from a non-conservation point, just from a personal, I drive down there a lot. I'm definitely gonna love, in quotation marks, all those exits right onto that intersection
Right. Right.
for commercial.
One comment on that is I will guarantee you that a, full traffic study,
course.
will be required.
This is a state highway. Is this state highway?
I
I don't think. this
don't
is.
believe so.
This
I
is.
will check on that though.
So they'll need a DOT permit.
Yeah.
Are they looking at any variances?
They are looking at some code changes, actually. That they'll have to make, which is gonna put them in front of the town council.
Mhm.
In addition to having to go before the planning commission.
Mhm.
So there is some aspects, that are a bit more complicated than your standard, pre-app of a project.
This is pretty steep. Grading. This is pretty steep from a standpoint of soil erosion plans. And,
Yeah.
And is this is the one that's having ERT done? Or no?
ERTs, from what I understand, are no longer a thing.
What are they?
I don't know. I do know ERTs are no longer in our code. I can look into a bit more of the history of that.
Where are the detention basins flowing out of? Where are they flowing to?
So,
I know it's just pre-app,
yeah,
but
and,
I'm looking at it going,
yeah, I mean, at first glance, I wonder if they have enough. That's a lot, that's a lot of asphalt.
here's a real brief one. I'll just so if you quickly just say to yourself, okay, besides the detention basins, everything that you're looking at is paved. Design is around 6 inches of rain in a 24-hour period. That's what design is today about. So if this is all paved, that means there's no absorption in paved parking lots. So that means every bit of runoff. So if this thing is, let's say this is, you know how big this is? The parking spaces are 106,000 feet, the buildings and the parking spaces, I guess.
800 by 200.
That's 8.5. And that one is.
I'm waiting for you to call him.
So,
Are you
yeah,
calling
they're, They are about,
But in total, about 17 acres.
17 acres, so each acre is 43,560 square feet. So how many acres did you say? 17?
17.
17 times 43,560
A lot of
times 0.5, and then let's just assume it's 80%. Right?
Mhm.
Just as a leap. 0.8. So that tells me that that's 296,208 runoff, well, feet of water. It's a lot of water. So I'm like, where the hell does all that go?
Yeah.
This is massive. Now, in a lot of cases like these, the buildings, they put dry wells in. Because it's clean water, it's considered clean, it just goes into the ground and it repercolates in, which is the preferable option anyways. Not from a parking standpoint, but from the building standpoint, and there's a lot of building space there. So what's your overall thoughts on when you look at this? I'm looking at it also, I can see the topography underneath there. There's a massive amount of cut. It's Tom. Hey, Tom, how are you? You are calling me. We're sitting in the meeting and I told everybody that you might be calling. I paraphrased your report that you gave. So I think everybody's pretty much up to speed and we were all really thankful for you to do that. And we all agreed that out of the four of us, including you, you are the best fit to do all of it. Because it's kind of a sideways compliment, isn't it? And so I read your comments and how the planning board was pretty excited about your involvement. And then we talked about, like you and I had talked, that maybe we should be presenting to the town council or the zoning board over the next few months.
Yeah, I would agree. So those next steps, right? So to take our message to the next step
Right,
would be, let's expand that out to different commissions
Right.
and to the town council. I
Yep.
completely agree with that.
so I think the next step would be the zoning board, just because it's on the same level as the planning board. And we can talk about that at the next meeting. Will you be here for the next meeting?
Yeah, it should be.
Okay.
Should be, yes.
Okay.
And so
Oh,
California is San Francisco, just to rub it in all that.
yeah, it's, you're breaking up. I'm sorry. I can't really hear you. Yeah, yes, that's right. So,
So as I could be Josh fix that. I think Doug was coaching of this to the commission to say that we are advisory capacity and the planning commission will not be directed by the conservation commission, which is probably correct.
that is
But
correct.
can use us at their discretion as opposed to being involved and giving opinions. So I don't know if you three and Josh had any conversations around that, or if that's something that we want to continue. Because I think it's something that we want to try to push on a little bit. Otherwise, maybe the planning commission will say, well, thanks very much, Tom, for coming, and we'll be in touch. And I think we want more than just being in touch.
Yeah, I think a good thing to have that discussion will be our next meeting. When you're here, And maybe we call Doug into the meeting and we request him to be here to get his opinion as to where we should be going as a commission and where he doesn't want us to go.
Okay,
And that way, we get it from the, planning department's head honcho. And then we need to know where, then we can assess where we want to go and how we want to direct the commission. And you and I have had the conversation that if we, for better words, if we don't have a lot of value, like the planning board doesn't really want us to be involved with anything, then what are we doing? And why are we doing this? So I think that would be a good thing to talk to with Doug at one of the next meetings, if not the next meeting, but within the next couple meetings. Okay? Does
yeah.
that sound fair?
I do want to say, I thought Doug did an amazing job of introduction and in integrating us with the planning commission. He almost completely took the thunder away from.
Yeah, he does a good job. Yeah. Excellent, excellent. I think we go forward. I really appreciate you doing that. I know that's not so easy to do. It's easier for you than most people, but still, it's not easy.
Well, glad you folks met. I think it's good to keep the ball rolling and it's good to hook up with you.
Yep. Sounds good, buddy. Have a good time out in California. And remember, it's cold out here, just in case you're wondering. Yeah. Yeah, yeah,
All
well,
right, well,
yeah. Yeah.
thanks a lot, folks. You take care of yourself.
For sure, for sure. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Tom.
Bye,
All right,
everyone.
okay. So would it be possible for us to get Doug to come in?
I can certainly ask him.
Yeah. I know he's busy and this would just be one more meeting, but we could put him on right at the very beginning.
Mhm.
Just so we know where we're going, whether we're gonna have value or we're not.
Mhm.
And if we're not, then we need to reassess where we're going. At least that's how I feel. Okay, so new business. So we dropped 5.7 down into the new business category. And Miles, can you tell me anything about that?
Sure.
'Cause I can't tell you anything.
Well, we briefly talked about quite a few meetings ago, about having a forest management plan. That's not this is related, but that's kind of a down the road thing. If we can even, again, depending on how our Office of Planning Department goes, are we just advising on what we think should be in a management plan for the town, or is it they would want us to write it, that's.
At least partake in the writing.
Right.
Not
That's what I would
really.
hope, but.
Yeah. I don't want us to be responsible for anything like that. Like, I want us to be involved, but not the.
Oh,
actual-
yeah, of course, because there'd be a lot of,
There's a lot of legalese and.
well,
things
yeah,
that
exactly.
We just don't want to have that expertise to do.
But at least being involved in it, that's my main point, is that I hope that we would be.
Okay.
But one thing I wanted to bring up was, I think what I originally wanted, just because we haven't met, last month, was there were a couple of forest fires. So I think they ended up being fairly small around here, and I think were both of them arsonists? Or was one an arsonist and one just an illegal campfire? I forget the exact specifics. I don't have enough data to look it up right now. But that just made me want to talk again about fire.
Hello.
Hey,
Hello.
hey.
Think should be right.
This is zoning meeting?
No. The zoning meeting is across the street.
Yeah, there's nobody there. I'll tell you.
Um,
Sure, it's tonight.
With me? Yeah, 7 o'clock.
Okay,
Sorry to interrupt you.
that's all right, this is 3, 8, 7 o'clock, zoning shields, no accounts, yeah, that's all. Yeah, that's what it says. You guys,
Yeah, go.
I'll be,
You know,
yeah, um,
so, I realize this might be slightly unpopular for sacrilegious to say, but, right, I know right now Coventry has a pretty understaffed fire department.
Yep.
I think it's, what is it? It's 6 non-volunteers.
I don't know.
That is the last news article I had read about it was that. And a few years ago, when we moved in, one of the laws there were a lot more laws in place about fire
Mhm.
Usage. And those got, I think it was 22, that a bunch of those got changed. And I don't know what the way forward to go exactly would be, but especially this summer was like nothing but drought.
Right.
And what do we get like?
It's kind of surprising we didn't have more fires.
Right. And it's almost like, do we want to risk that? So I just think that from an environmental standpoint, even not just a human safety standpoint, obviously that's a huge thing, but in the scope of us right here, that Coventry, I mean, actually, especially Western Coventry, actually is pretty forested.
Oh,
Kind of
my
lucky
God.
for that. Rhode Island's weird in that sense, where we have like the most urban, dense places like Providence, and then we have Coventry, where it's actually outside of the Warwick area, West Warwick area, it's actually pretty.
Yeah.
And keeping that stuff safe, obviously, would be in our purview. And I don't know, something along the lines of like, I'm not necessarily saying that we need to push for a law change or something like right now, with just the 3 of us, 4 of us, but just bring it to attention on some level about campfire safety, like just because we have such an understaffed fire department right now. It's just, it's a little scary. This summer it was scary, and we were lucky that we didn't have anything worse, and that those 2 events like were more in the fall when most stuff was already dead.
Well, could we have Josh pull up, the fire code laws and how they're written? And have him bring them in and have us discuss it at a later meeting?
Yeah, we could do that.
That'd be a good technique. We might as well utilize him to get this stuff. It's a heck of a lot easier for him to get it than for us to try to wonder what's there.
It can also be a little difficult to just like find everything related to.
Yeah, it's a lot easier for the planning department to look that kind of stuff up. Just brings up a point about the forest management plans. And how, like last summer, we had the dry of the dry.
Yeah.
And although we didn't have major forest fires, but we wondered how up to date our fire laws were and whether we should at least make an input into, should we look for changes on some of those, given maybe climatic changes that may be going on. So if you could maybe can you post to all of our emails the fire laws? I'm assuming they're all electronic.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of where I would find them.
That's gonna be your
Yeah.
thing.
I don't think it should, but the only thing I'm wondering is we have all of these fire districts.
Yeah, the central.
Yeah, and so I'm just wondering if there's one set or there's
You do
more.
know, we have a luxury right now, as that we have this guy who's on the town council named Brown,
Frank Brown, yep,
who
yep,
is the fire chief
Yes.
currently,
yes,
still the fire chief.
yep,
And he would at least be worth the phone call into him
yes,
to say, where would these things be kept? And are they
Yeah.
kept at the fire department? And can we get copies of them?
mhm,
And that
Yeah.
way we can go forward a little bit on this discussion. And maybe we're gonna find out that the laws are adequate.
Right, it might just be an
Yeah.
enforcement thing
Yeah.
rather than.
So, okay.
Mhm.
Good. Let's see, future agenda items. Can we, is there anything we need to talk about with this at this point?
At this point, with just a pre-app, it's hard to. I mean, besides the fact that it looks like way too little stormwater drainage system, but
Well, it looks like it's way too much,
pavement,
urbanization
yeah,
and very little.
especially because where does? Yeah, the Walmart complex right there, they have the rivers and stuff back there to drain into.
Right,
What is that? Besides the main road and the.
well, you can't get back there to them. You can't really get to the ones in back of Walmart,
Right, that's what I mean. It's like there isn't really a,
Yeah. can't get back there.
can't dump onto the old landfill.
Well, if you want an overall opinion on this, as I look at it, it's way too urbanized.
Mhm.
And we're concerned about the drainage on this particular property and
Mhm.
how it drains, and where
Yeah.
does it go?
Yeah.
Like, yeah, it's early, but if they go down the road and it's going forward and all of these are disconnected. Where does it go?
Yeah.
Where does it go?
Yeah.
So, and like, you can sort of see the contours underneath here if you look really closely. There's a 15-foot differential right here between this and if that's somewhere about basically 100 feet, 15 foot. That's a 15 feet and 100. That's a big number. So if this building is built at this top elevation, that means the backside of it is the ground is lower than this floor compared to the top of this roof. So, boy, that's a lot of fill or a lot of cut, whatever which one they're doing. So it just makes you wonder. And it actually does set up well when you think about it. If you wanted to have like an ability to drive through in the back and bring in materials through the back, because the building's sitting up so much higher. And it's kind of a nice thing, but I don't know what they're planning on doing. I just look at that and say, ooh, that's a big cut.
Yeah.
Big cut or big fill, whichever one it is. And I know when you fill, you lose, what is it? 1 inch per foot, basically, in a few years. So if you've got 15 feet, you can lose 12 inches of 12 inches of building, and that's what makes buildings crack. When you see them, you'll look at foundations and you see big cracks in the foundations because of the fill, because it wasn't compacted properly. And even if it is compacted properly, using a Troxel gauge for the new gauge to determine it's 95% compacted, you're still 5% off.
Mhm.
That's going to
Just curious, what are those two parcels just north of it?
They are. This looks like an old quarry. And if you look at the topography, this is just a cliff.
Right.
So that certainly suggests,
There's been.
it is, yeah. This is a chemical company?
Yeah.
Mhm.
Well, it used to be called, and anybody who's old, i.e. me, Ferro Barrel. Have you
Mm.
heard that term?
No, I haven't.
So Ferro Barrel was a chemical company that used that building. And if you notice around the edge of the woods, you'll see pipes for sampling the groundwater.
Mm.
Because there was a lot of chemicals being stored and utilized in that company historically. And it was dumping into the backside of Lake Tioga, which is what you're looking at there. And it was causing some serious pollution.
Yeah,
It was
that
a
sounds
long time
horrible.
ago. It was a long time ago. As far as I know, they've rectified a lot of it, but it was a very bad situation
Mm.
for Lake Tioga at that time. Might have been 30 years ago, 40 years ago. Even before I was around this area, but all you had to do was say the word Faro Barrel, and people went, oh. Because it was pretty bad. Have you guys ever gone down the road? um, Like this road right here that goes down into there? Have you, any of you been down that road?
No.
It's a very narrow road, and see this right here? See if I can move this all down this way. So this right here is that development that's
Yep.
gonna be going in through here. And it's gonna come, I think it's gonna come out this way, and I don't know if it comes out over here also. Because this is a one-way. This is a one-way right there. So there's a lot of development in this area, this being one. I kind of like the idea that it's commercial, not residential. This is gonna be that 7 lots per half acre because of the new laws that are. 'cause they're-
Something, I forget the exact.
I do too. I don't keep it straight.
Numbers, but yeah.
So that's gonna be a development coming this way. And I'm sure it goes out the other way too. And then there's the other development that's going right here. And then there's the other development that's going right through there. And if any of you have been down by Walmart, that road now is going through. Have you seen it? It looks good. It looks good. I'm sure the people that live in that development over there aren't gonna like it, but. So. But this right here, does anybody have any other thoughts on it? It's really what's on the table tonight.
My thoughts are about the court is like, it all kind of just slopes down
Yeah, that's what it
into
looks
this
like.
direction.
Yeah.
So whether, especially the locations of these, all I can think is how quickly that court is gonna fill.
Yeah.
All that, a lot of that's gonna end up.
They don't, you have to, and it's one of the, it's kind of like a sore spot about how development's done. This goes on as a pre-app.
Mhm.
And then what happens is it sort of gets, it looks okay, let's go forward. And then in the end, you find out, well, these were not big enough. So it changes
Right,
things, and then it causes, the developer, the owner, the buyer, difficulties. And you'd wanna prevent that. So I mean, you would think, and who's doing, VHB is doing this. Vanessa Hagen Brussel is doing this, and they're good guys. They know what they're doing. But to me, it just looks too small and not adequately placed for what's going to go on, unless they plan on having everything come down and go right down Arnold Road and go into Lake Tioga. And I don't know that. There's no way you can tell that from looking at it. Josh, this goes right down to Lake Tioga, right?
Yep.
And yeah, there's big drains down here that go in, and goes into some of those like tree branches coming up this way towards us. So. Okay. Anything else on this?
I mean, it's just a pre-app, so it's.
Yeah, but it becomes, the problem with pre-app is it becomes, like,
The base. for-
yeah, it becomes the basis.
Right.
So. Anything else? So let's see. And this is the one that I showed you when I came in.
Yes.
So this is the one, if this is going. Make sure I pulled it up. It was in the paper today.
Mhm. It's going before the technical review committee next Monday. On the
13th
13th.
of January.
Yeah.
Now, as far as I know, it said verbal comments from the public will not be taken. However, the public is welcome to submit written comments on any agenda items prior to the meeting. So if we want to comment on this, either as a person or as the commission, we have to do it in writing. We cannot do it. We cannot speak that night. So it's really not a great. It's not a great method. You know. So. Do any of you have any feelings on whether you'd like to write something to this technical review committee?
Is that meeting getting recorded?
Yes.
Okay. I might write something from a personal standpoint.
Mhm.
For that, but I won't be able to actually attend the meeting, so I wanted to know if it was
Mhm.
gonna get recorded, so at least here. Afterward,
Yeah, it's 1:30 in the afternoon, so
yeah,
most people are at work.
Yeah.
So,
no, I'll just walk down to Providence. Bring it.
anyways, Josh, would you suggest we write it from the commission? Or would you suggest we write it from our personal standpoint?
I would recommend doing it from a personal standpoint.
Who sits on this technical review committee?
It is the head of the planning department, the engineering department, DPW, fire, police. And I think that's everyone.
So Frank Brown?
Well, he was. Now that he's on the council, that'll be, yeah.
The police chief?
Yep.
Heinz? What's his name?
Yeah.
I met him a couple times.
Heist, something, yeah,
Yeah.
I forget, off the top of my head.
So planning board. President.
Yes. However, matters that are going to be going before the planning board, the planning or the planning commission chair does not attend the GRs. There's something about a conflict,
Makes sense.
so.
Okay,
All the comments, will be received before the meeting, and it's just a memorialization of the comments that the, heads of the departments have.
so. This was in the reminder. I don't know if you all get the reminder, so it's in the reminder. So, who do we send, how do we send it to?
You can either send it to, Doug,
Just through his email?
yep, or, planning at Coventry.RI, .gov, goes to me and I can, forward them.
Okay, yeah, it says, please direct comments to Doug McLean at coventryri.gov. So either one. Okay,
Is that, which reminder is that?
today's reminder
Gotcha.
just came in today. Okay. Any other thoughts?
So right now, I think so.
Nothing? Okay. I make a motion that we adjourn for the evening.
All right, I will second the motion.
Over?
Aye.
I think I am gonna write,
Mhm.
Can I take this with me?
Yes, yeah,